Tonight we're going to talk about ancient spiritualism, and the the booklet I made has a lot of Native American stuff where we're going to start probably there and spend a lot of time doing that. But we also have like China and India and the other countries where spiritualism is a worldwide phenomena, and people. It's probably the oldest religion in the world before everything got incorporated into mass religions or whatever. And while we're doing this, what we're going to do tomorrow is we're going to vote whether this class was better than the cookies and the homemade banana bread. So whatever you're thinking about tomorrow, text me and let me know. I'm thinking about cookies or your lesson affected me. We're going to figure out which one we're going to figure out if I'm a better baker, which I have good skills, or teacher. We'll find out. We'll find out. I do want you to know I color coordinated with the... So, yeah, extra points. Now, a moment ago I was talking about my grandmother passing and my mom moving back to the reservation. This is my tribal enrollment card. So as we go through some of the stuff, I want you to know I have personal experience with a lot of the stuff in here. I grew up on the reservation and have done a lot of the ceremonies they're talking about. Does anybody want to see? I can pass it around. This is a legal government document. Reservations are separate governments. We have a police department. We have a court. We have a whole thing. So there's a front and the back. I'm from Bishop, California. Yes. Did anybody ever watch Bonanza as a kid? Okay, my tribe is the one that attacks the Cartwrights in Bonanza. I'm the bad guys. The Paiutes. Paiutes are shown. So that's in Bonanza. The Paiutes always talking to the Cartwrights or whatever. Ancient spiritualism in America. The Native American spiritualist traditions and practices are diverse, reflecting a rich tapestry of indigenous cultures across North America. While practices vary among tribes, there's a common thread in elements in the interconnectedness of a Native American spirituality with nature, community, spirit realm. And we open up here and we can start with some of the key aspects. So one of the points is that Native Americans have a sacred connection to nature. Native spirituality emphasizes a profound connection to the natural world. Many tribes believe that all living things, including animals, plants, and rocks, have spirit. And nature is considered sacred. Spiritual teachings that often draw on wisdom derived from observing and respecting the environment. Ceremonials and rituals. Ceremonies hold a significant importance in Native American spiritual traditions. These rituals vary widely among tribes. They include a sun dance, sweat lodge ceremonies, powwows, green corn ceremonies that involve music, dance, drumming, chanting, and the use of symbolic objects. Rituals are conducted to seek guidance, express gratitude, or mark important life events. When my brother and my mom passed, our tribe offers cry dance, which is the ceremonial death ceremony. And so they put up like a big tarp system around, like in a circle, and then they build a fire in the middle, and then they chant Indian Paiute songs, and then the family and everybody can come and dance around the fire and welcome. It goes about 3 hours, and when it's someone in your family, you're expected to dance the whole time, and then you look in the fire. We're seeing visions in the fire and all kinds of things. And the Paiute part of that ceremony is we take clothes and burn them as a way to say goodbye. And I was holding this pink sweater of my mom's. Cute. My mom was a clothes horse, so all cutesy girly stuff or whatever. and it smelled like my mom's still, and it was so hard for me to throw it in the fire. I was just like, oh, I don't want to throw this because I could smell it. So I was dancing with her clothes for a long time, and we did that. And my mom's house was beautifully decorated with all the culture of our tribe. There were baskets and turquoise and jewelry, and in fact, there was, well, fights between my brothers and sisters over the jewelry afterward, and blah 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 blah. So that's one of the ceremonies that we've been through, and you could really feel a connection to God. Remember last year when we did the Indian Guide at the end and we were dancing around, we went around? That was part of the ceremony I was borrowing from when we did that last year. All right, now Sweat Lodge, my mom's cousin, who's actually, he's still alive, he's 90-something. Sweat Lodge is a purification ceremony by many tribes. Ours was in a wickiup, which is a igloo made out of sagebrush, because we're in the desert, right? So it would be that. Participants gather in a small dome-shaped structure representing the womb of Mother Earth. Heated stones are placed inside and water infused with herbs poured over them, creating steam. The ritual is seen as a spiritual rebirth and a way to cleanse the mind, body, and spirit. A lot of people that go to these have spiritual connections. They smell like buffalo, and I don't know that my cousin's Sweat Lodge ever had that, but I've heard other Sweat Lodge where people are saying visions and smelling buffalo and connection, and just like our circle that we do here. All right, Vision Quest is the rite of passage undertaken by individuals seeking guidance or deeper connection with the spiritual realm, typically involving fasting, solitude, commune with nature. Vision quests are often a way to receive insights or guide one's path. I don't know that Paiutes did the Vision Quest, but that, or my tribe, it could be somewhere else. Talking circles are gatherings where participants sit in a circular formation. Hey, look at that. Look at us. And share thoughts, stories, and experiences. The circle represents unity, equality, and the interconnectedness of all participants. Talking circles are used for decision-making, conflict resolution, and community bonding. Now, storytelling and oral traditions. Storytelling is a vital aspect of Native American spirituality. Through myths, legends, and oral traditions, spiritual teachings are passed down from generation to generation, and these stories convey cultural identity, moral lessons, and the sacred history of the tribe. When I was a little kid, I was terrified of Sanawa. Sanawa is a Paiute Native American witch that'll snatch children if they're outside after dark when not listening to their parents, right? And I remember being, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. And I remember once being scared, and I don't know the mindset of it, but I remember they were saying, Santa was coming, and we were all running to get in the house. And it was at my friend's house, and you could see a glass door, and I could swear I saw footprints in the sand coming toward and it's still in my childhood memory, like, that's real. And it could just be like, made up, scared kid stuff, but Sanawa's real to me. The Paiute word for witch, which Sanawa was supposed to be witch, is Hugachi. And when we would get mad at my mom, me and my brother, we would always call my mom Hugachi. So, I don't know. My mom took it with a grain of salt. She knew we were Hugachos or whatever. I don't know. Medicine men and shamans. This is probably the most common way that people know ancient spiritualism is through shamans. Spiritual leaders known as medicine men or shamans hold a respected role in Native American communities. They're often entrusted with healing practices, communicating with spirits, and conducting ceremonies. The role may vary among tribes. And then medicine wheels. We had a really great experience. Penny brought almost a medicine wheel for Fraternal Spiritualist Church. Wasn't that you? It was amazing. The creators of Fraternal had created a medicine wheel type chart. Did anybody see it? Remember? We did it at the...
I can pass the picture around if you, or bring
Yeah.
it in if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's where they laid out the church and how it was going to go. And I think how Spirit came through and the whole thing too, right?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. So Penny has that from our old church from Millie. Did you ever see it? It's amazing. You'll have to bring it.
I've made them. When I got into researching medicine wheels, I made a whole bunch of them just on paper and stuff. I had made a whole bunch. Yeah, and I got all the colors and rocks to make one up in the mountains, but I never got around to it.
Yeah, and so medicine wheels are sacred ceremonial structures found in various Native American cultures. These circular arrangements of stone hold spiritual significance and are often aligned with astronomical events. They serve as places for meditation, prayer, and connecting with the spirit world. All right, so animism and spirit guides. Many Native American tribes embrace animism and the belief that all living and non-living things have spirits. Animals in particular are often considered spirit guides, providing guidance, protection, and messages from spiritual realm. This belief fosters a sense of kinship and interconnected with all living beings. How many of you have gone on I know this is a common thing that spiritualist churches do. How many of you have gone on a guided spiritual message with an animal guide leading you, like a meditation? Has anybody done that? Yeah, a few of us. All right, shamanistic practices. Some tribes have individuals known as shaman and medicine men or women who act as spiritual leaders and healers. They communicate with spirits, perform rituals, use herbs and remedies to address physical, emotional, and spiritual ailments. My tribe still drinks, God, I can't remember what it's called now. A local bush they make tea out of. You know, like ours, I can't think of what it's called. It's I don't know. It pulls apart. I can't remember what it is. So they drink that, and then of course the staple food of the Paiute tribe is pine nuts. So they would go, and my mom took us to make sure we were culturally exposed pine nutting. And when you pull those little pine nuts out of the thing, you're covered in pitch. You're sticky everywhere. It's hard to get off of you for days, but they're delicious. They taste like edamame. Yeah, they come out of the pine cones. They taste like edamame. Oh, the green beans, soybeans, soybeans.
It's a pine cone
And the nuts are inside of there. And then you can cook the nuts and they crack open and they're delicious. Well, pesto's made with pine nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pesto. Yeah. Those come out of a pine cone. Yeah, they never used to be. Oh, it's labor intensive.
Get them out to the middle of those things.
Mm-hmm. And I just saw on my tribe has a Facebook page, and I just saw somebody was pine netting, and they go, well, "I'm not telling you where they are," blah blah blah, and there's a whole thing. So I connected. All right, sacred sites. Certain locations such as mountains, rivers, specific landscapes are considered sacred by many native tribes. These sites often are associated with important spiritual events and ceremonies and are conducted to honor and connect with the spiritual energy and present. Near Bishop, north of Bishop, maybe 5 to 10 miles, I'm not exactly sure. We have a petroglyph site where the natives carved, and a few years ago somebody broke some off of the wall. Stupid tourists. And so there's a sacred place. And then my hometown bishop is down and around from Yosemite. And one time driving, my thing lets me get into public to parks free without the pass, because Tuolumne Meadows in Yosemite is a sacred site. And once I was driving through there, and it was morning and the dew, and it was glistening, and I screamed. I just could feel connected to earth and spirit. It was just so beautiful. and overpowering. I don't know. Has anybody been through Tuolumne Meadows? Yeah. On the backside. I hit it at the right time.
I mean, that is at Shasta at the bottom of the mountain.
Yeah.
And they have a spiritual site there.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God.
You can feel it. It's like Taos, New Mexico is like that, and Arizona. So yeah. You can feel the energy. Yeah. All right. In respect for ancestors, the ancestral reverence is a common theme in Native American spiritualism. Many tribes believe in a connected presence of ancestor spirits and honor them through ritual ceremonies. Ancestors are seen as sources of wisdom and guidance. When I was a little kid, all of my grandmother's friends, my grandmother passed, if you remember my story, and we moved home to where our family's from. When my grandmother passed, all of her sisters and her friends, like everybody was like Aunt Lillian, whether I was related to them or not, they all spoke English as a second language. So on my tribe, everybody had the Paiute accent when they spoke English, and it was awesome. I would pay money to hear it today after all of those people had passed. All the words were chopped off. Like, you come here. I just miss it so much, right? Just all choppy. And they are now teaching Paiute on my reservation again. Somebody just asked me, was this here last week? About what happened to your family to go to school. And the United States government was so good at Americanizing people. They made Native children go to school somewhere else so they couldn't speak their native language. So they all would have to learn English. And they sent our tribe to Shears, Nevada, because, Bishop's on the Nevada border, about 50 miles, to break up. And so they would all, learn English and forget Paiute. And so now many tribes, it's not just that mine, are teaching their native languages and cultures. My mom, just to give honor to my own mom, was very involved in my tribe when I was little. She helped set up our cultural center, which is our museum. She helped set up the water district. She helped set up the... and my reservation's very modern. You can't... Like when you drive through the Bishop Paiute Indian Reservation, which is about 2 miles square, you can't tell where the town ends and the houses begin, because my mom worked for HUD and she got new houses built, and they're HUD houses. And in fact, Jody has a friend that works in HUD, and we were trying to figure out if they knew each other. My mom built hundreds of houses in the Eastern Sierra using grants from HUD and all kinds of stuff. So I kind of grew up in a modern, 4-bedroom house, air conditioning, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I know all the cuss words. All of them. And let me tell you, well, I'll give you one. When I was a little kid, and you know what is so funny is people don't realize, like, when you grow up and your mom even throws them at you, they mean something to you, right? So, Yoko's the F word in Paiute. And I used to think, what does that woman do with the Beatles? I think, why would her name be that? Right? What does she do? And then the other one is, it got really common for people to name their kids like Shaquita or Laquita, or Quita is poop in Paiute. And so every time I would meet somebody with that word growing up, my mom, like as a little kid, would always say, do you have to go Quita before we go, or whatever? And so, like, I would always hear these words that, like, people, like, make up or whatever, and sometimes they're like, that means something. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Dog, red cloud. I mean, they really have all
Yeah.
those names.
Yeah. So then spiritualism around the world gets mixed in with cultures, like in the Caribbean. The Santeria and the Spiritism gets mixed with Catholicism. They're like the ones that were educated in the city had a tendency more to mix with Catholicism because they could read and whatever, and the ones out in the country were more connected to just spirit and ritual and
I heard that they use like let's see, what saint, like Saint Thomas, and they will put Saint Thomas to one of their gods, so they still like
yeah.
doing their religion, but they change the name, so they start with Catholic or whatever. Like what they have.
Yeah. And you know, this, when we were doing this stuff, to be honest with you, some of the pictures that came up when we were doing the Caribbean, when it was voodoo and their practices of doing that, I had a hard time putting those in here because I'm scared of those. And it's probably really similar to what we do. But you know, they always look voodoo, they always talk about cursing and blah, 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 and putting curses and hexes on.
You know, that's illegal
Voodoo is
to practice
in any
Yeah.
in the United States.
Yeah.
Voodoo.
Um,
No, it's actually.
do you know what?
In the law, you cannot practice voodoo.
Voodoo. Well, Jay Lorraine just looked up in Pennsylvania. Tell them about your Pennsylvania thing you found, J-Lo.
before I tried. Was it Pennsylvania? Oh, my phone died.
Yeah, Pennsylvania.
Was that where it was?
Yeah.
So just this last week, there was an article. I think, where was it? Where did I read it from? I sent that to you.
You were doing research about something and you found it.
Wherever I read it, there was a shop that was offering readings, and her shop is more like witchcraft stuff, so candles and all kinds of spell stuff. But she was offering readings, and the police actually came to their shop and said, you know that it's against the law to give readings, and what was the other thing? Cards. Couldn't do
Tarot.
cards. Tarot cards is actually against the law in that state, and also getting readings for money and something else.
And what state?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. And this was this month. Tarot cards.
They said, in the article it said that they traced it back to 1972, but
Yes,
suspected it was earlier than that.
Wow.
You know, and it was
1972
about-
was the update, right?
Yeah, and it was about what we talked about last week.
Yeah.
We came up, people being taken advantage of
Yeah.
when it, because of the, J-Lo was part of your talk. About old spiritualism getting a bad name because of people faking it.
Yep. All the fraudsters.
Yeah. All right. And then,
What it was based on. Protect people.
so that stuff is, I think, you know, I think some of the freedoms we have are getting undone in the current cultural environment we're in right now, where they're, you know,
I
like,
also think there's a way around.
yeah,
When I was reading that,
yeah,
Millie was right here, and I kept remembering her saying, don't go out there and start just offering things for money,
yeah,
you know, donation, but for charging, the way they worded it was charging, so.
yeah. There are scams. I know why they have that law. Like, I've had people, when you try to tell them you're a spiritualist and they say, oh, I went to a psychic and she put a hex, said there's a hex, and I had to bring $1,200 to clear the hex, and that happens a lot.
I had someone tell me,
Yeah, a lot.
if you buy these candles, then that man will come to you.
Yeah,
I don't need that man, it's gonna take those candles.
yeah, yeah. So then, you know, in South America, I don't know if you guys know this, I'm sure you do. Brazil is one of the most spiritual countries in South America.
Brazil.
Oh, you can tell us, huh?
Yeah, talk about it.
Yeah, real quick.
Why people come into church, because the way church you receive messages and do stuff, it's really close to the way we do in Brazil.
Yeah. So Brazil is probably one of the most spiritual
Yeah,
countries that
it's a
practice
big-
spiritualism in the world.
It's a big, like you put the names there,
Mhm.
and the one is called
Cultos and Culto Olomecao, Umbanda,
Umbanda. Yeah.
Umbanda.
It's like those have voodoos, have those
Dolls and stuff.
dolls
Yeah.
spirit like sense.
Yeah.
Is in a different, and you use like in a good way and a bad way, and then just have a impression, and like it's not, it's by money
Yeah.
kind of, and they, but the spiritualist things is, it's called mediumship, but some of them you incorporate. It's not like a church, but
Yeah.
it's the healing in church. It's everybody's going there because it's really close.
It was Duda, or it was the other little guy that teaches that jujitsu that they do in Brazil. I can't remember his name. Or the little guy there, the little guy that used to teach. I can't remember. They told me that one,
Duda, I know. I don't know which.
the other little guy, I can't remember his name. I wish I could remember. They told me that a big growth spurt in Brazil happened when there was a famous spiritualist that said Brazil was going to win the World Cup, and they did, and everybody, he was right on.
You get those people reading things.
Yeah.
And go to the TV and say, "Hey, this is gonna happen," and the time happened, they believe that spiritual thing is winning something. Like
Yeah.
They always every World Cup or every other thing they go to those numerologists. They talk in the TV for weeks and put people, oh, Brazil's gonna do this, Brazil's gonna do that, and that channel.
Yeah. It's awesome. You guys are starting to run out of time, so I made the book in case this happened, in case I was a blabbermouth, that you could take this and read it. So, and you're welcome. So, like all throughout the world, of course, India has probably pumped out more religions than any other country in the world. Buddhism.
Catholic, they are like Catholics, like we are like really like long time.
Yeah.
Catholics, like
Urdu, and there's what else is from there? Buddhism, Jainism. There's just a bunch that came out of there, and their connection is always with spirit. I know that you could say a lot because Ancient Aliens always goes back to India, and she loves Ancient Aliens. Always goes back to India. All right, and then China has like the Tao, and of course Buddhism, Taoist Buddhism, Confucius. This symbol was talking about reuniting 5 religions, 3 plus Christianity and Heisen Tao. So there's your Tao symbol. This is the Om symbol over here for those, and we're in the Om centers. I had to put that in there. And then the Japan has Shinto, which they relate to kami, which are the spirits in Shinto. And there's a Japanese Psychic Association, just like there's a British Association, an American Association. They practice channeling. So read through these, you guys. These are fun. And then even in Islam, which is, the Middle East, there's the Sufi and the dervishes. Do you remember dervishes from your ancient Bugs Bunny cartoons with the whirling dervishes? They're from Turkey, and they are Eastern spiritualists. And there's Sudan and Islam. And then in the back of the book, I put beliefs about modern spiritualism, because all this stuff led into modern spiritualism. There's like 9 beliefs, starting with we believe in infinite intelligence. We believe in the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, is the expression of the infinite intelligent. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewithin constitute a true religion. We affirm the existence and personal identity that people continue after life. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact, scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. So this is the National Spiritual Church Association, and then there's a British one too. And these are just some of the stuff that they believe. And when we go through this, you guys, these here in the front, I want you all to look at this as we go through class this year and think of how you can relate to this and get your soul connected in one of these areas, whether it's, like storytelling, vision quest, sweat lodge, whatever, however you can connect so we can pull our connectedness to the highest level. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go find out if I did a better job teaching or a better job baking. And then everybody's going to text me tomorrow and let me know.
So far, like cookies, and then the teaching were like this, and then so I need to get another cookie.
Yeah, right. Right. My mother had a plaque. Hey, my mom had a plaque on the wall in her kitchen that said, "Never trust a skinny cook."
That's right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.